Hello there. I'm going to talk to you guys about reading and how everyone should read more. I am an avid reader ever since I was a child, and Harry Potter was probably my favorite book series and still is. Like the author George R. R. Martin once stated, a man who reads will live 1,000 lives before he dies. A man who does not will only live once. I know a lot of people don't really see the beauty that comes from reading a book because no one wants to sit down and read a book for several hours. But do you understand the health benefits that it comes to reading a book? Reading not only helps build your vocabulary naturally because you're reading all of these different words, you're learning to understand all these different words. Not only does it build your vocabulary, but it also builds your brain muscles. You know, it can reduce age-related cognitive health. So, like most people will do crosswords or Scrabble or, things like that, Sudoku to work out their brain, to keep their brains active. Reading actually does the same exact thing. Reading can also reduce stress and depression. I know that I read really extremely high when I'm depressed. That is one thing that I usually do is reach for a book because when you're depressed or when you're suffering from high anxiety, you need to take a minute to escape from your current reality. And books are the greatest thing to do, to read when you need to escape from that reality, when you need to escape from worrying about the kids, worrying about the bills, worrying about work, and, your everyday life, that everyday hustle and bustle. Sometimes reading a book and sitting down and just being able to forget all of that for even 30 minutes it just restarts your brain. It restarts your way of thinking because it allows you to close the book and be like, okay, I took my break. I can go back with an open mind. Not only does it reduce, the stress and the anxiety and stuff like that, it actually may even help you live a little bit longer. A long-term health and retirement study followed a cohort of 3,635 adult participants for a period of 12 years, and they found out that those who read books survived around 2 years longer than those who didn't read. And not only is reading important for you, reading is important for your children. We all know that, as we grow, as we learn, as children, we're learning the alphabet, we're learning how to speak. And I don't think people realize that reading to your children not only helps your children know sounds, words, it helps them learn language, and it helps them develop early literacy skills. I know that a very good friend of mine, her daughter was at the age, she wasn't even 2 yet, and she was able to articulate leaps and bounds sentences, full-on blown sentences, and she wasn't even 2. And that's actually very uncommon for that age. Most children, mumble, they say, mama, dada, certain small words, but they can't talk in a full sentence usually. And reading to them shows them certain words. It shows them how to articulate it and stuff like that. Not only is reading to children, it also shows them to learn the value of books and these stories, and it sparks not only your imagination, but it sparks their imagination, and it stimulates curiosity, which is important for a growing child. They need that curiosity stimulated. It also helps develop your child's brain. It helps develop their ability to focus, their concentration, their communication skills, their social skills. It helps your child learn the difference between real and make-believe, which is very important. When they're reading stories and they're having to read all of these make-believe stories, obviously they're going to understand that we're not having sword fights in real life, but it's so fun to visualize it. Like most people will watch movies. They'll sit down, they'll relax, they'll watch a movie, and they'll watch the story get unfolded right before their eyes. Reading a book is a lot similar to that, except you're reading the words and you're visualizing it in your brain. And it's honestly, it's so in just I can't explain how amazing it is to just sit down and just visualize all of these amazing things going on in your brain, and no one around you knows that you're visualizing and you're watching this movie in your head. And another great thing is that not only are you watching this movie in your head, but this one book, all of these books behind me, all of these beautiful books behind me, were created by using the same alphabet, the same 26 letters in the alphabet, A through Z. All of these words were created, all of these books were created using one alphabet. And it's amazing that all of these stories can be created using one language. And not only one language, these stories are actually translated to different stories and to different languages and transported all around the world for other people of different languages to be able to read it. Anyway, going back to the benefits of reading to not only you, but to your children, we talked about how not only does it stimulate your curiosity and it helps children learn between what's real and what's make-believe, it helps your child understand new or frightened events, which is really important, especially in today's world. There are so many children's books out there where it talks about new events or current events, or like for right now, COVID. I don't know if there are any books that talk about COVID, but it would be very, very beneficial because you see all these books about why it's important to wash your hands. Well, it's important to wash your hands because of COVID. You know, children of a young age learn why it's important to wash your hands because they're visualizing it. They're seeing it written in this book, and they're taking that life lesson from this book and applying it to their real life. So, and then not only that, but you see all these books about ethnicities. There's so many different things written about the beautifulness of color and appreciating and accepting people no matter what they are or where they come from. Children read that and then they see that and they apply it to their everyday life. And that's why it's so important to allow them such a diverse range of